Hi. So I just had a thought and I want to record it. So, we talk about this idea of the map not being the territory, and just a general idea of schemas or concepts, frameworks, which I've been, for example, I've been working on a framework, meaning logical explanation for how some words can have a deeper meaning. So always the question arises is, who says you're right? And my answer really is, I don't, I'm really suggesting something different than right or wrong. I'm actually reporting how I experience things, okay? And this ties in with the theory of who we are as humans, and theory of knowledge too, in a sense. Now, I understand the different ways of learning things. You can learn something in school. You can have someone teach you something. But the risk of someone teaching you something is sometimes they're wrong. And you're carrying something for years, but you were taught something wrong, believing it was true. Why do you believe it's true? Let's say you had a teacher or a professor. Or in the case of linguistics, you have someone, Ferdinand de Saussure, the father of linguistics. He's considered one of the fathers, one of the two founders of the field of linguistics, and he made a proclamation which became canonized as science because he was considered a scientist, and he may be a scientist. The thing is, scientists are human. No single human usually knows everything, People can make mistakes. So if a scientist says something not using the scientific method, and it becomes canonized into the body of science, then what's your defense? Okay, this ties back to an alternative that we all have. Science, for good reason, has been dismissing intuition, for good and bad reason. I mean, for what I've learned recently is that Einstein, way before evidence, had intuition. But science is very scared of intuition because intuition is the very opposite of how many people believe science should be. Because science is based on observation. Intuition is not. I argue actually it is an observation and a feeling. I have no problem with people being skeptical about one person's intuition. I totally accept that. But going back to my insights about language, the point is, I'm not here to proclaim the truth. I can just proclaim that this is something that I have noticed and experienced. I was thinking, the concept, I heard there's a book called A New Pair of Glasses. The idea is, okay, you put on a new pair of glasses and then you see everything differently. There are many traditions, and many cognitive, people who help us rewire our brain. We often, like I'm thinking of Joe Dispenza, for example. He talks about, that often all we think is, thoughts we had to think, we repeat the thoughts that we thought for many years, and many times we thought these thoughts based on limited information. And one approach to learn something different is to meditate. A lot of spiritual traditions, and I would say even intellectual traditions, I would propose, should be about intuition and not forcing an outcome and not forcing an observation. Well, I would say intuition and meditation. Meditation facilitates intuition. The idea is, of course, I'm all for science, but I'm also all for another path of knowledge, which is intuition. Now, I do accept one person's intuition may be limited. Okay, I may be losing my train of thought, but back to and I do have ADD, so, I jump around, but, I do have valuable things to say, some think, and, it's the jury's out. Each person can decide for themselves, and the collective will make a decision. Ultimately, I've been working on philosophy of language for 25 years, since about the year 2000, and I will, God willing, higher power willing, will share more and more. There's a body of work with some academic publications that will be coming, God willing. And I'm speaking about God in the great, the broader sense, not the narrow sense of one particular religion. I'm talking about the unknown, the higher power, the unknown, the power that we don't know really, a hidden power that many of us believe it controls a lot in our lives and in the universe. But it's not very specific. Okay, back to the new pair of glasses, okay? What I was thinking is, here, I propose ideas that I believe many people will find intuitive, but then you'll have people who will be skeptical, and skepticism is important, I must assert. All I'm really saying is, go within yourself and see if it resonates. Because I believe that we all have the truth within us, or an aspect of the truth within us. We could make mistakes, but that's where the collective can help. When you have multiple people feeling the same thing, then I think that gives a stronger signal of something that may be actually there. And so regarding the new pair of glasses, so you have to bear with me, if you would, because some say that, my style of thinking may seem very chopped up and not coherent, but some of the highest minds perhaps feel that I have coherence despite all what may seem incoherent. So if you have patience, and if you've stuck by so far in this video, then you have patience and waiting to hear if there's something to be said. So what I realize is, a lot of humanity thinks in binary, yes or no, right or wrong, true or not true. And what I'm saying is here, when it comes to the new pair of glasses, meaning when you have a new idea you want to explore that may not be proven by science, like quote unquote proven scientific, like when I talk about how words may have deeper meaning, intuitive meaning, which goes against the grain of Saussure, the father of linguistics, for example. And I have a paradigm with multiple dimensions. I have a lot to say, so hang on. I'm not here to say, hey, I have a lot to say. I'm saying there is a body of knowledge to be shared with the world, and I'm not controlling the truth and the outcome. People will or won't accept. Each person, the individual, the collective, or a collective within the greater collective will make its judgment. Some, I'm sure, will accept, and others will reject, and that is fine. I'm just one human sharing my insights, and take it for what it is. Okay, back to the pair of glasses. So I was saying people think in terms of binary, yes or no, right or wrong. I'm saying, and even that book, I don't know what it's about, new pair of glasses. You think, okay, you put on a new pair of glasses, it's like laser surgery, you put on a new lens. That lens sticks with you, stays with you forever, And I'm saying something different. Think of it as more of, pink glasses, I'm not saying, what I'm saying is sometimes if you have an open mind and you want to consider an idea that you haven't thought about, it doesn't mean you have to adopt the idea forever. It means put on a pair of a pink or any kind of light color altering glasses for a few minutes and just get to experience what someone else experiences. What I mean is, don't think binary, right or wrong, yes or no. All I'm saying is, try it out for 5 minutes, 1 minute, get to see another point of view. It doesn't have to be my point of view. We often, I believe, and a lot of, it's not just me, that we all are, in this physical dimension, we are governed by fear. Fear is a gatekeeper to thought, to many thoughts, right? But the idea is, okay, you don't have to change your thoughts forever. Just, make a little space, a little window, a pair of glasses for 5 seconds, just so you can see things just a little different. Not that you have to agree with it, but just here you can see something, another point of view. A new pair of glasses, but just a temporary pair, not even a new pair of glasses, a temporary pair of glasses for 5 seconds, okay? Not a new pair of glasses, a loaned glasses, okay? Just how to create a space for safety within ourselves to consider new things. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to my theory of language, which hopefully you'll hang around with some of you and we'll learn more about, I'm not saying agree, I'm just saying, why don't you just borrow a pair of glasses or take a pair of glasses for 5 minutes, 5 seconds, and just get to see something that someone else, to see how someone else experiences things. You don't have to agree. That's it. Bye. 10 minutes.